In the small town of Silveride, nestled between low hills and gentle forest slopes, stood the cozy wooden house of the Marlowe family. This house was located on the very outskirts of the town, as if viewing the surrounding world through a lens of tranquility and harmony. The spacious gardens surrounding the house gradually blended into fields of tall grass, and a bit further began a truly wild forest. A cat named Charlie lived with the Marlowes, a real favorite among both the household and the neighboring yards. Charlie differed from ordinary cats not only in his calm temperament but also in his appearance. He had thick gray fur with white spots and a mesmerizing gaze of different colors. One eye was blue, the other amber yellow. Because of this feature, people in Silveride felt that Charlie perceived more than others, and a certain mysterious wisdom lay in his eyes. Charlie never showed excessive aggression towards small creatures. He loved racing around the garden, chasing insects and tiny mice, yet he rarely harmed them. It seemed enough for him to demonstrate that he could catch these uninvited guests, but nothing more. Sometimes he brought the mice he had caught to the doorstep of the house, was thanked by his owners, and then released his catch back into the garden. Because of this trait, townsfolk called him the guardian cat. The Marlowe Garden was indeed a place where humans, animals, and nature coexisted in an almost fairy tale balance. Fruit trees, raspberry, and currant bushes grew here. In summer the air smelled of strawberries, and in spring hundreds of flowers bloomed, attracting bees and butterflies. Beyond the garden rose tall grass, and further on, behind a small hill, lay Silveride's old forest. Local residents told stories of forest spirits, ghostly lights, and other legends dating back to the town's founding era. Usually cats avoided such places, but Charlie seemed unafraid. He could spend hours wandering the forest's edge, calmly exploring the undergrowth. One hot day, Charlie went for a walk to the far edge of the garden. The grass there grew higher than a human knee, and small rodents often settled in the thick growth. But this time the cat heard a quiet, wary hiss, and, pushing aside the grass with his paw, he saw a small snake with shimmering scales. It was tiny, no longer than a pencil. Instead of pouncing as one might expect from a hunting cat, Charlie carefully approached. The snake coiled up in fear at the sight of such a large animal. But Charlie showed unexpected gentleness. He simply nudged the tiny snake with his paw and carried it to a hidden spot under a raspberry bush, where he arranged a makeshift shelter from leaves. The snake lay there, breathing heavily yet showing no aggression. From that day on, the relationship between Charlie and the tiny reptile was straight out of a fairy tale. Each day, the cat brought his new friend insects and small frogs. At night, if it got cold, Charlie would sit next to the snake as if protecting and warming it. The snake gradually grew accustomed to the cat, stopped recoiling at his approach, and even came out a little to greet him when it heard his footsteps. Weeks passed, and the snake grew at an astonishing rate, soon reaching almost a meter in length. It then became clear that it was an exotic cobra, a species never before seen in Silveride. Local exotic animal enthusiasts guessed that someone may have brought it from distant lands and then either set it free or it had escaped on its own. However, the most surprising thing was how the cobra and the cat continued to interact. The cobra seemed to regard Charlie as part of her family. She lived peacefully in the thick bushes at the far edge of the garden and rarely showed herself to people. Sometimes the Marlowes noticed Charlie disappearing into those bushes for quite a while, and when he returned, he looked satisfied, as if after some pleasant visit. Then a large family moved into the neighboring house, bringing with them a huge dog named Reuben, a mix of a fighting breed with something big and ill-tempered. Reuben was known for a nasty disposition. He chased any living thing, be it a cat, a squirrel, or even a car. Neighbors said the dog had a difficult personality and didn't obey commands. Before long, Reuben started escaping his enclosure and roaming the area, scaring domestic animals. One scorching afternoon, the dog got into the Marlowe's garden. Charlie, at that moment, was dozing in the shade of an old apple tree, unsuspecting. Reuben began creeping up on the cat, preparing to attack. Before Charlie realized what was happening, the dog lunged with bared teeth. The cat managed to slip between Reuben's paws, but due to age and slight fatigue, he couldn't run far. The dog caught him by the fence, pinning him down with a paw and baring his teeth, jaws ready to snap. It seemed Charlie was done for, but suddenly a loud hiss broke the silence. Out of the bushes slithered the grown cobra. She flared her hood, and her shining scales in the sunlight were striking. Her hiss sounded like a warning, and her gaze seemed to say, "Back off." Reuben froze in shock, but still brimming with aggression, he turned on the snake. The cobra was faster, dodging his attacks with lightning speed. She unleashed a sudden strike, and before the dog could react, she'd landed a venomous bite to his nose. Yelping in pain, Reuben jumped back, pawing at his muzzle. Charlie, recovering his wits, used the dog's distraction to scramble out from under its paw. Still trying to maintain some dignity, the cat hid behind the bushes. The cobra, not wishing to prolong the fight, remained between him and the dog until Reuben, still whining in pain, slunk out of the garden. And so the cat was saved. The commotion drew the attention of Mr. Marlowe, who ran to the scene and saw the cobra next to Charlie. Astonished, he could not believe his cat was standing alongside one of the world's most dangerous snakes, and not only did he show no fear, but the snake didn't seem to threaten him either. At the sight of a human, the cobra slowly retreated into the familiar undergrowth without showing aggression. Word soon spread throughout Silveride of this miracle cat and mysterious snake. But seeing how carefully the snake protected their cat, the Marlowes decided not to call in pest control or chase it away. They tried to put themselves in the reptile's place. It was only defending their beloved cat and evidently had no wish to deal with humans unnecessarily. So the Marlowes simply observed this wondrous friendship. Months passed. Since the cobra had revealed itself, the garden saw no more attacks from stray dogs or other aggressive animals. Reuben kept away from the Marlowes' yard. The mice and rats that had previously caused trouble disappeared. Apparently, the cobra now guarded the place, hunting pests. Over time, the townsfolk grew used to the idea that some mythical or magical snake lived in the Marlowe garden. Nobody wished the cobra harm. Half-legends circulated about her friendship with the cat. Kids from other neighborhoods would come to the fence to call Charlie. Occasionally they'd see a flicker in the bushes and run off, excited to share the wonder with everyone they knew. As for Charlie, he seemed to be an ageless cat continuing to enjoy life. Whenever he wanted peace, he slowly headed toward the raspberry thicket and vanished for a while, spending hours next to his scaly companion, who, in turn, gladly welcomed her striped friend.